Okay, I kind of wanted to fuck around a little bit with the Panthers draft. Not talk about the rest of the roster, just talk about the draft. And here I was, trying to plan this out. Dude, I can't do it. I gotta wing this shit, man. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I think they're gonna do, minus surprises. Okay, just standard vanilla. What I think they're gonna do. Not focus on any trades. Uh, do different scenarios in a mock draft simulator. Uh, didn't really plan this out. Don't not. I thought about it. Then I just need to just go with it, man. So this isn't going to be a high production value. Just me shit talking some NFL Panthers draft talk. So right here, this little guy over here, is kind of what I went over in my last video, state of the franchise. And here's where I think I was starting to list what I think they're going to do at each round. Um, and then kind of went to what I think is they're going to go defensive tackle. If I had to, that's my guess. Then linebacker, then a surprise. But I'm not going to do the surprise right now. I'm just going to throw the surprise out the window. Just do bland, no surprises. Not trying to like really put anything out there too extravagant. Just realistic. What I think they can do. Maybe at the end, if I haven't taken forever, maybe I'll start winging what I would do, what I would like them to see, like my fantasies, my desires. But to kind of just touch up, um, I think there's a strong possibility we go defensive tackle. I just cannot see them, even though I still have wide receiver on this list of what I think they could do. I think a lot. I think I need to trust my instincts more, man. I need to trust what I know of my team, and I just need to say that like I just don't. I struggle to see wide receiver, even though again I know we need help on offense. I think offense was the weakness of our team last year. I'm not saying we can't improve on defense. I'm gonna say it, dude. I think our wide receiver room is fine. Could we get better? Sure. Is a first round pick at number 19 gonna do it with this draft class? I just don't think so, man. Could it happen? Yes. And let me preempt everything I'm about to say as I vomit out of my mouth just words that come to mind. I just want to preempt it with like who, for the most part, man, whoever they pick, I'm gonna be excited for, and I know that they're gonna know better than people like me and a lot of the other people who content creators or experts or pundits, people who get paid a crap load of money to do this, people who are making money on the side to do this. I'm gonna trust what they do for the most part. Um, as I go through this, maybe I'll try to think of some guys I would not want. I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of any right now. I know they exist. Like for example, Jordan Tyson worries me. Sonny Styles worries me, but I don't think Styles is going to be there. I don't think Tyson's going to be there. But if he's there at 19, it's probably because of injury concerns. So, and if he's got injury concerns, do you chance that? I don't think we're in a position as we're trying to be contenders. I think it'd be a different story if we had a roster and maybe we're just sitting at 19 because we had an unlucky playoff game. But I think we need more sure fits than someone like Jordan Tyson at wide receiver who could be great. Who knows? Maybe he comes into the league and he proves everyone wrong and never misses a game and it becomes extremely reliable. But that's where you have to look back at this time. If we pass on him or teams that pass on him, and he ends up being a future Hall of Famer, then you have to remember, like, dude, the guy has injuries concerns. The best ability is reliability. Um, so, all right. One thing I forgot to mention, one player I forgot to mention when it came to possible defensive tackle, a 3-4 defensive end was Keldrick Falk. He everyone talks about him as a like a 4-3 edge guy. Um, I think there's a strong possibility he could be looked at as a 3-4 defensive end. Um, and to be honest, I think he's got capabilities to succeed there. I think it wasn't until just today, because I've been thinking this, but to be honest, I think it was just today I actually finally heard someone talk about him being a possible 3-4 defensive end. Uh, but I've been thinking about it for a little bit. I think I forgot to mention him in the last video. I don't know if Peter Woods could be someone. Like these are just names that I think they could fit. I think McDonald is more of a nose tackle, but um, that's something that they would. I think that they would consider. I was just throwing names under. Like who could they possibly get? So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a mock and see what it looks like if we go defensive tackle, and then I think we're gonna do what it would look like if we go tight end. Maybe we'll do when we go free safety because I that's being talked about, but I'm thinking I don't know, man. I think it's smokescreen. I'm not saying Dylan Thieneman couldn't be a great player, and I'd be excited for him. You just have to go. So here's what I think I need to get out and communicate, and I think we need to all remember. Whether it's defense or offense, it all starts up front, and they know that. So if you look at offensive line up front, we don't necessarily quote unquote need someone to come in and start right away. And if maybe you're talking, okay, so right tackle Moten, left tackle Rasheed Wallace right now with Icky waiting to come back, and he's looking. I mean, he's not looking like he's hurt right now. Then you have Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt. So there is nobody at center except for. Let me see, does this? Where does this get added over here? Is that's not even in my little. All right, I'll start. I'll put them down here. So these are guys I'm going to put on like my like top draft board, and I'm gonna be scatterbrained here, so I hate to like bring up that name because I'm writing it down so I don't forget later. So maybe I'll touch on like why would I put him on my top? That's if we can see teach him how to play center, and I do think he could be an impact player for us in the trenches, because if he can play center, don't ask me if he can. I didn't fucking coach him. I'm not looking at hours of film. I have a full time job. If all he is a guard, then okay, no. But I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to teach him to play center. Why he couldn't? He's athletic enough to do it. I think if he were there, he's one of my favorites because he could be an impact player in the sense that he comes in, he's your fucking center, potential future, all pro center, and it's just attitude. It's solidifying that center position. It's a mean guy. I mean, dude, there's just so much I think someone like he can do that not a lot of players, interior offensive linemen come along and do, in my opinion. They're there. I'm not saying they're extremely rare. I'm just saying, you don't get too many in a draft that can come in, make a statement, solidify your center position, um, and then you have flexibility. What if one of the guards goes down? So and plus I just dude, I like that mentality. I like that hard nose. Everything he brings onto the field, I like. So not an impact position, but I think he could be an impact player at a position that can just impact an offense. That we don't necessarily have like an all pro center right now. So can we get one later? Sure, but he's not Vega Uoni. So I don't know. I'm not really pronouncing his name correct right now. All right. So back to what I think they'll do. I truly do think defensive tackle. So we're gonna explore that and then see what the draft looks like. Then we'll look at maybe let's see if we'll do some drafts here. So let me go ahead and get that started. I don't know. I just picked this one. Let me move this screen around. All right. So I picked Panthers 6 rounds. I'm not going to be taking too much time. I just pick 6. If I have to, I'll quit out. Hopefully, there's not a limit on how many fucking mocks I can do on this website. go ahead and do show for that, and then let's get started. Hopefully it doesn't go slow. Okay, it's decent speed right here. All right, so as I can see here, so Fernando Mendoza, Arvel Reese, David Bailey, Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles. Okay, I could totally see that happening. Then you got Francis Mayona, on a six. I think that's what Browns. Cardinal Tate to the Commanders. Caleb Downs to the Saints. Um, wait, is that right? I think I need to look at this. Holy shit! Okay, that's totally wrong. I was going off this list. Um, Sonny Styles number two. This is already stupid. This is already dumb. But hey, whatever, dude. Okay, so they have McNeil Warren going before Thieneman. Dude, I mean, there's some crazy things that happen on draft night, but let's see who's available. So Ruben Bay, I don't think he's going to be available. I mean, Kenyon Sadiq, Dylan Thieneman. Okay, so who's usually not mocked to us, and I'll take advantage of that now. Whereas D tackle we could do later. We just want to see what it would look like. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna go with Kenyon Sadiq here to kind of since he's available. Or do we do like a no? Because we could do like any type of offensive tackle. Yeah. Okay. So being that it's a tight end, there's really only one of them. Let's see what just position wise, and these are the players we would kind of be looking at if Kenyon Sadiq were to fall to us. I mean, to me, that's a lot of what I think they should do. You take Iwane off the list. You know, what should they do? They should address offense. They should provide another weapon, but I don't think it should be in the wide receiver room. I think it should be a tight end, personally. If and I'm hoping that they know how to use them. They should. If you're gonna draft them, I just here's the thing, dude. I can't with these fucking offenses, man. On my fucking coaching my damn team, and we have to sit here and not take a player like Sadiq, basically because you can't fucking coach right. That would just drive me fucking nuts. I think you know you need help on offense. You know you have receivers right now. You've got T Mac, XL, Coker. You brought in Mechie. You have Horn Jr. Bryson Tremaine, who you say you like. Like, okay, is that could you do better? Yeah, but when you're looking at the tight end room, man, just saying. Okay, let's see how it goes. Draft tight end Sadiq. See what we could be looking at later. Yeah, I'm not even gonna fucking worry about who went where when. Let's just look at the draft board. Okay, just fucking around. Okay, fuck your trade offers. Although that does intrigue me a little bit. Um, best player on the board, C.J. Allen. See what I'm talking about? You can get a good nickel guy. You got Jacob Rodriguez. All right. So Christian Miller's defensive tackle, but I mean, I think let's see. Let's take a look at D tackles later in the draft. I think I'm leaning obviously Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, people are gonna throw a hissy fit if I weren't taking him. You know, like I don't think he's gonna fall to 83. He's gonna be there. So yeah, I think you could go linebacker here. And let's just go Rodriguez, man. But let's just think this through. Okay, so who's that wide receiver? Don't give a shit. Um, do you solidify by taking some kind of center, or do you wait? So you could be looking at center here. Because okay, who's drafted Aone? Okay, like yeah, you could have at least off this mock, you could be basically take your pick of center, or you could maybe see if you can find one in round three. Cornerback, nickel, you got Chris Johnson. I mean, see, I just don't. I think they have, they like their guys, man, and I think they have a really good ability to recognize people like Mike Jackson, um, Thornton. Uh, you know, I don't think we're in a bad position there. And I think, and honestly, I bet you there's probably a lot of fans who just don't know that any times we maybe did suffer was what could have been a lot because of a lack of pressure, too much time. I'm not looking at edge. Let's look at offensive tackle. So I think in this scenario you pick tight end. Sure, and I think by doing so, you kind of miss out on the Monroe Freelings, the Proctors, the Blake Millers, the Maxi Hinachor, Loma. Like those are the, could you get another guy? But I think you bring more value by going, all right, let's take Jacob Rodriguez, 45 overall. Let's look at the overall big board. C.J. Allen, Chris Johnson, Chase Passones, Um, who's the better player, Rodriguez or Miller? I don't know. Or Allen, sorry, I don't know. Um, but just for position's sake, let's say you take Jacob Rodriguez, inside linebacker, um, taking care of that position. What could round three look like? Okay, this could be your center. We in this scenario we took a tight end. All right, let's go back to my little board here. All right, so in this scenario we went tight end, linebacker. So who else you go? Is there a tackle? Is there a free safety? Defensive tackle, center. Dude, we could get any one of these guys. Be just fucking bam. All right, let's look at tackle. Or who else was there? There was safety. Let's go offensive tackle. Okay, I think at this point, man, you're better off getting like a Travis Burke that they talk to a lot later in the draft as kind of like that fourth offensive tackle behind Moton, Rasheed Wallace, not counting Icky. Um, then who's that guy that no one really likes right now? Maybe whoever you can bring him can beat out that Stonehenge guy or Stone something Farnsworth. I don't know. I forget his name. Sorry, I did not come that prepared. So then you're looking at D line because again in this we have tight end, linebacker. If you can come away with Kenyon fucking Sadiq and Jacob fucking Rodriguez in the first two picks, holy shit. Okay, looking at D line though. What kind of name? Caleb Proctor stands out. That might be Chris McKellen stands out. So how about this? I'm seeing we could wait. Safeties. Kilgore. I mean, uh, See, I just don't. I don't know. I think if you're not taking a safety dog, are they going to beat out Nick Scott, Lathan Ransom? You're probably better off getting with your scouts and just saying, "Hey, dude, who's the guy that's like day 3? Let's take a fucking like you pound the table for him." So, but I think in this so far, what do we look at corner? You could get like a who am I looking for here? Oh, Scott's gone. Okay. Well, so we looked at center, D tackle, offensive tackle, safety. I think in this scenario, the most value is going to be center. Most bang for the buck. So let's do it, man. So either one, you go Connor. I mean, I think a lot of people have Sam Heck as the number one right now, number one center. I think previously, before draft season came along, it was Connor Lew. Heck, I've even heard Kalen Rutledge. But I think right here, this is where, dude, like this kind of setup in this draft could really get you set up looking really damn good. You can come away out of the first 2 days just, sitting pretty. Shit, we should have gone faster, huh? Next one I'll do faster. All right. Okay, is there a way to see who we've drafted? My selections. All right. So far you got Kenyon Sadiq, Jacob Rodriguez, Sam Hex. Positions you haven't really addressed: tackle, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, wide receiver, even. Now, this is where, the experts and the people who get paid to do this on a daily basis, this is where they're going to come in. I mean, you could have had Jake Slaughter here as well. That's another name. Um, Caleb Proctor. I mean, you got Austin Barber, tackle. But I think we're still in the mode of who can contribute now. Whereas I think if you're picking a tackle who isn't going to start because you went, tight end, linebacker, center, um, I think you could still pick a guy like McClellan right here, and he can contribute right away. He's not. He's going to be rotational. He's there, when Turk Warren isn't going to be around. So you could come away, and it could be any. It doesn't have to be him. It could be any other guy you like. Keller Proctor. I don't know. Is there a way to see their like player profile? All right. I didn't really fuck with this too much, but let's just take a defensive tackle here. And I've heard some great things about McClellan. They did meet with him. Dude, so that's what dude, starter, potential starter, right? Almost maybe even right away. And you got potential starter almost right away. And you got a guy who can come in and contribute. Maybe even a starter. You never know. All right, now we got back-to-back picks. So who have we not looked at? We have not looked at. Let me get my refresher memory here. So tight end we did, D tackle we did, center we did, linebacker we did. So we're looking at free safety, corner, offensive tackle, um, or best player available overall as well. All right, so let's go all. Let's just see who's out there. Let's scroll way down. You got more defensive tackle, offensive tackle, Cage Casey. Then you start to get maybe Travis Burke. Um, maybe is this where maybe you want to take a quarterback? Maybe a Taylor Green. I would. I mean, not necessarily him, but I would be looking at this stuff. So, I know I saw Isaiah World there, but just best player available, at least according to the NFL mock draft database. What are we thinking? I'm thinking tackle, at least right now. But where could we looking at who can contribute? Um, you can look at corner, maybe safety. You got some like you could get, dude, you could get it. So then, and you could even argue, okay, now is the time to take a tackle, even though he might be a project guy. We're gonna need a project guy. But let's look at safety. So you're looking, yeah, dude, we've missed the boat on safeties for right now. Um, Corners. So it might be like, hey, pick who's your dude. So maybe with two back-to-back picks here, we might be looking at corner and offensive tackle. You could even maybe look at running back. Kalen Black they had in. I heard some good things about Damon Claiborne. Some people are like, why you need a running back? Well, okay, let me explain why. We do not need one if Jonathan Brooks is good to go. But I'll say again, Chuba to me he's a backup running back, man. We're trying to make him a starter. I think his best year is going to be as a starter, but I think he's better off as a backup. Um, if Jonathan Brooks is good to go, then no, you don't really need one because you have him, Chuba, uh, Achan now, and then AJ Dillon. So yeah, you don't really need one, but that's something to consider because I don't have a lot of faith in almost anywhere in our offense right now, except for the guys who are clearly solidified as far as like offensive tackle, T Mac. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, but let's just what's more impactful. Right now, maybe not running back isn't that as impactful because you have at least two guys, or three guys, Dylan, Achan, Chuba, with the potential of fourth. Okay, so not as impactful. Safety, like we talked about, you kind of missed the boat. Edge, that's something to consider. But maybe, I think right now you're looking okay. Corner, did we talk about? So yeah, like that could be it. We talked about that being one. We just this. So what about wide receiver? I think I think honestly you're looking at this is a good time to go offensive tackle. And you could bring in a Travis Burke. What pick is this? I can't see this shit. Pick 158. All right, you're at 158, and just by this ranking, he's 137. You go Travis Burke, Isaiah World, Cage Casey. I don't know this Bowery kid, but put in whatever name you like here of who could be here. I'm gonna pick Travis Burke mainly because we've shown a lot of interest in meeting with him. Um, maybe they finally saw what they needed to see, and let's just take him. We're picking next. All right, and we were talking about cornerback. Whoever your guy is, scouts, tell me who should I be taking here? Um, that we don't, obviously we don't want to go. Who else? Well, let's look at who else could we do. Could we be looking at? All right, let's hide so we don't have to scroll too far. Yeah, man, I don't know. This is where I'm not paid to know this shit. So, but yeah, I mean, I think just based on if you're looking at corner, you're looking at like probably higher ranked guys and safeties. Uh, yeah, so I think pick your poison. Who is it? To me, I mean, I'm just going off of names that I've heard. Dude, I would say Price or Davis, probably Takario Davis, 6'4", 200 pounds ish. All right. And I don't think we're doing 7 rounds here. So now you're at pick 200. You've addressed tight end, linebacker, center. So tight end, linebacker, center, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. The only thing you didn't really touch was free safety. To me, that looks like you could if Sadiq were to fall, and of course linebacker were to fall that you like, and of course these players have to be there, but there's options there to get an over like to maximize your draft, your weekend. You still got Isaiah World there. Keenan could be another, I think, nose tackle. Um, how about this? Why don't then? How about this? This is the 6th round. Why don't we say, all right, man, let's fucking go running back. Let's get running back in case Brooks isn't good to go, or he is and gets injured again. Basically, that would probably end his career for good. You could do whatever you want here, man. Whatever we could draft Justin Jefferson. uh, so Kalen Black, that's another. They met with that kid. So yeah, man, I don't know. I like it. I like it. That looks pretty damn good. That's a pretty damn good draft right there. You can't have them all. So what do you miss out? You miss out on a potentially premier free safety. Um, you don't really need a premier offensive tackle or first round. So you miss out first round safety, first round offensive tackle. You don't really need a first round linebacker or first round center unless it's Vega Iwone. You got defensive tackle help. So that's one way it could play out, which I think looks pretty damn good. All right, what do we want to do next? Let's look at. Do we want to see? Yeah, we'll do it quickly, or I'll try to speed it up even more. Um, so we kind of have an idea. So what we'll do? Let's do. Let's see what it looks like if we get free safety. If he's there. If he's not there, then we'll go to D tackle or offensive tackle. Um, I'm not even gonna bother with fucking receiver, man. I just don't. I really do think people are they're just being blind right now. I don't know why there's so much blindness. This time last year I was saying, yeah, receiver, tight end, they're completely on the table for us at pick number 8. Everyone kept talking edge rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher. All I saw was them bring in guys to meet with. That position was the position we most met with last year. All they kept telling me was this guy's a second round guy. This guy's a late first round guy. This guy's a second to third round guy. over and over and over again. And I'm like, dude, I don't see them doing by any means. I do not see them doing an edge rusher. I mean, I kind of wanted Jalen Walker if we were going to, but wait, I don't want to lie and reword. Like, I didn't say I don't see them doing it. I thought it was more of like, I think fucking wide receiver, tight end are totally on the board right now. Total possibility. So I think that's happening this year, but with receivers. Everyone's talking receivers, but and we met the most with them out of any other position. I think they're looking to see who could fall to them in the second or third round. To be completely honest, if they even want to take one, I struggle, man. It's really hard for me. I could be proven wrong here in what T minus 3 days, 4 days. All right, let's get a restart. Let's go Carolina, of course. Let's go ahead and do the 6 round mock draft. All right. Ooh, oh, we wanted to do it fast this time. Let's go fast. Okay, we're gonna show drafted for now. Let's start. All right. So what? Like we're well, I guess we're gonna see who's there. Okay. I said fast, bro. This ain't much faster. Okay, and this one the free safety's not there, but uh, all right, maybe he'll be in the next one. So and since he's not there, let's try it with offensive tackle, which you could, you could take Fano or Freeling, Proctor. There's something about Proctor, man. Holy shit, Iheanacho went before then. I'm gonna go with. Hmm, there's something about Proctor I really like, but there's also that fucking Alabama issue where guys come out and everyone thinks they're gonna be good and then they suck. All right, let's just go off of draft board. Do you take a Spencer Fano? No, man. I think what you have to do. All right, so now we're getting into Panther fan talk. Hold on. Let me get a Zen in. I think what you have to do when you think about what kind of guy do we want at offensive tackle, I think what you'd kind of have to be looking for is a guy who can play both left and right, you know, but you're mainly getting him. He doesn't have to be a premier left, but he could basically fill in, and this is the minimum. A guy who could fill in at left tackle, but is also very like and could take over left tackle. Take over for Icky if he shines. And with Icky, you could say, okay, we're going to move you to guard, sign a guard contract. We'll move you to guard or sign a right tackle. I don't think he'd play good. I'm thinking more along. Maybe I've got thinking too much like Madden, to where Damian Lewis getting older could be a cap cut a year from now, but so I just don't think Afano would fit who we're looking for. Freeling, if he could be a swing, but I think Kalen Proctor would be more of that. Whichever, man. Let's go with Freeling. Like, it doesn't matter. We're just looking at kind of positions. Let's say you do a Freeling. Let's do it. Okay, fine. Talking too much, bro. All right. So now that you got offensive tackle, we kind of want to see, is this, do you go linebacker again? Do you do take a chance at defensive tackle? Caleb Banks. I think this is second round. Um, So where's the value right here? Based on this mock, you're looking at a value of linebacker and defensive tackle. Maybe safety. So who, to me, okay, so we did find defensive tackles later. We probably didn't find that linebackers that were really, we could. So, so I think the question becomes, okay, D tackle, linebacker. You just picked an offensive tackle. You don't have value in tight end anymore. Who has the better value in the second round now? It's Caleb Banks or like a Jacob Rodriguez. We've shown that we could find a guy later in the draft at D tackle, even though I think it's valuable. We could find linebackers too, but who brings the most value? I think if healthy, it's obviously Caleb Banks, obviously. But he's like what 330 pounds with foot issues. I think in this scenario we go again, Jacob Rodriguez. Just being, I mean, yeah, I think he's going to be more. He's going to bring more value than Eli Stowers, who I don't think is. I think Kenyon Sadiq is kind of like that. The bottom, as far as like size goes, he's just. You don't want to get any smaller, and Eli Stowers is smaller, at least with weight. I don't know about height. I think height he might be a little taller, but I think Jacob Rodriguez is going to bring more value than an AJ Halsey. So yeah, I think go there. Now I think in the last draft, third round, we went with a center. Now this draft, you didn't get your tight end in the first. You got an offensive tackle. So this could be a really good value here to get your all around tight end and help that tight end room. So I'm gonna go ahead and take him. So far, I like the first draft better. I think it's lining up better. All right, now we're in the fourth round. Offensive tackle, linebacker, tight end. I think this is where we went D tackle previously. Yeah, and I think we should do it again. Um, because we got our tight end, we got our linebacker, we did not get a center. Probably get a Pat Coogan later. Jaeger Burton, isn't he a center too? Yeah. Parker Brailsford. So I think you have to shore up your defensive tackle because yeah, you haven't done it. So let's go McClellan again. Well, who's at safety? Kilgore. This is the fourth round too. But I just don't. Although I like these players, man, I just don't. I think you're gonna have better value, dude. You got to remember the trenches. It all starts up front. Boom. All right, now you got back to back. What could we be looking at here? Could be looking at another defensive tackle, which we already did. How are we at center? We could still. That could be something here. Safety, no. Corner, you could take your corner here. We did offensive tackle, linebacker, tight end, defensive tackle. Okay. So see, this one's not shaping. I mean, yeah, it's just kind of chance RNG, but I'm like in corner and maybe center, man. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I think I'm gonna go corner. Who's my corner guy? Let's just take Prysock. Okay, whatever. I don't even know if he'd be a good fit, but and then center. You're kind of reaching a little bit, at least according to these numbers. Let's just say, let's go with Brailsford. Smaller guy. We're just doing it for position. All right. So, so pretty much in this, you're basically trading off. So who did we pick third? I think we went center, the first one. The first draft we did was Sadiq instead of Claire. Rodriguez was basically a toss up. You did instead of Mountain Roof Feeling, we got like a fifth round guy. We had Chris McKellen, I think, in the fourth, and yeah, I like the first one better because you get a more surefire, a better center. So and your pick 19 was basically a guy who could start, may not be needed to start. All right, so we went there. Now let's see if we can't get a free save, a Thieneman to follow us in this one, just to see how it would look. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna see how Thieneman looks. How does it look if we say, you know what? Let's get Thieneman. He fell to us. We can pick Sadiq, but let's go with the other Oregon Duck. See how the draft kind of looks based off this draft board. What our overall draft could look like if we were to take a Thieneman. What kind of chances we get elsewhere? Mind you, in none of the other drafts did we take a free safety. This is where we normally go linebacker. I think you keep it going, man. And this is kind of pretty much this is falling in line with what I said. Linebacker in a second. So far, I would like to do tight end. I don't even know. Oh yeah, you can see that. Okay, linebacker, and then I don't know where we at. But okay, maybe let's just start here. Let's just do a draft here. So then maybe defensive tackle, and then so in the two fifth rounds, you're looking at maybe CB and offensive tackle. I know that's kind of so far. Like I like this setup the most. But I mean, this is again, this just brings the most value. Is Rodriguez going to be there at 51? Maybe not. There's always a lot of talk on players, and then people are surprised when they fall. And then they even get more surprised when they think it's a fucking shoe-in, for example, the Panthers, and then they pass. I mean, look at Peyton Wilson a couple years ago. We were talking about taking him in the first. We were surprised when he wasn't taken in the second or the third. uh, all right, now here we are again. Now we got okay. So far we've got safety, linebacker, and then our lists are defensive tackle, tight end, offensive tackle, center. So is this where we maybe go defensive tackle with Big Citrus or tight end? I'm gonna go ahead and play. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say we got our free safety. We got our linebacker, and then so if we went, that'd be all defense on days 1 and 2. But that would really, like, holy shoot, that would be intense, man. That would be intense, and that would be pretty damn exciting. Of course, we don't have a fucking depth at offensive tackle. We didn't improve there. We didn't improve center. We didn't improve pass catchers. But maybe we could see who falls to us at tight end. Because I don't think Osterdelp is gonna. These guys are not gonna be there. None of these guys. So this is another. We could be looking tight end here. So the question is defensive tackle or tight end. By the time we pick again, we're not gonna be seeing these guys. So I think there's gonna be options at defensive tackle later that are gonna be better than these guys, in my opinion. Maybe Eli Raritan. I've heard some good things about him. Um, we don't have our center yet. So yeah, this one's actually harder. I think you've just I think you just shored up safety, linebacker, and you could shore up defensive line. See, dude, I just don't like. Okay, is any of these guys gonna be better than what we have and be a good addition with scheme fit for our receiver room? Could be. Deion Burks could be better than Horn Jr. Let's go ahead and ignore center. So we're gonna sacrifice center in this one. So in this draft, we're looking at we just picked a fucking premier safety in the first round, a good inside backer. We're normally looking at center around here, but let's just say okay, we need to get to pass catchers, um, some kind of weapon, defensive tackle, cornerback. I think we need to focus on give a little bit of offense right here, even though that big citrus would be really nice. I think in this scenario, you kind of have to go, all right, it's time we take a center. Who do we take? Delp, Claire, Roush, or do you go wide receiver? Nah, I go tight end over receiver. Personally, Yeah, let's say you like Nick Samak that much. It's not a smokescreen. You really do like him. You brought in the other guy to start in front of him to show Samak, just teach him a little bit more. Maybe Samak's more of a long-term project that they have faith that it will work out. Uh, yeah, you don't really have anyone here valued here. And so it comes down to like, we need some offense. Basically, pick who do you want? And I would lean tight end. You bypass in center. You can wait on tackle. I don't think you really need a wide receiver with the guys that are there in the third round. So I think you say, all right, fine, let's go with whichever one you want. Do you want more well-rounded or Delp? Like, let's just say, let's just go with Claire, whichever one. But you could go with Delp. And you know what? I need to say something on Delp. I was really excited to watch him, man. I was starting to hear some good things. I mean, I even picked him on my Madden franchise because of his speed and acceleration. But that's Madden. I'm picking certain players in Madden because of certain attributes and measurables. Whereas in the NFL, what I don't think I like about Delp is I never see him break any fucking tackles. That annoys the shit out of me. So I think in this scenario, I would lean. Hold on a second. Now I'm thinking, what if, what if, well, who could we get at, what are we picking again? 119. Who could fall to us tight end wise? So what looks better? Big Citrus and someone like Eli Raridan or Justin Jolie, or Max Clare and someone like McClellan. I think Max Clare. Yeah. So this is our fourth round pick, right? So we got, yeah, I think we go, I think this is where we go D tackle, man. And then, fifth round, sixth round is probably going to be pretty much more the same, which is what? Which was it? Like cornerback and offensive tackle. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's shaping up to where cornerback and offensive tackle would be good fifth round targets ish. I think D tackle, I think you need to get one, in the first four rounds. Center, you could get one, but if not, maybe if you sacrifice center for free safety, which may not be a bad thing. Or this is interesting too, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Trey Zune the third can pretty much play anywhere. He's kind of like Brady Christensen. That's intriguing. So what if instead of like a Travis Burke, you do like a Trey Zune? That's actually, I don't know if he was there in the other rounds. If he was, I should have thought of that. So you could do that, Trey Zune, and then you can go get your corner. Whoever you kind of like to come in and challenge or cornerback three and fours. Let's just say price hawk, whatever. So who do we miss out? We got a tight end, we got a linebacker, we've got one in each mock here. We got a defensive tackle. We got a offensive lineman and a corner. Um, so basically, you take Thieneman and you sacrifice a center. At least in what my thinking is. This isn't a bad. This too is not bad. This is kind of. This is to me. This is pretty closely to rivaling the first one that we did. So that's kind of cool too. So safety, linebacker, tight end, D line, O tackle, cornerback. I like that setup. That's some pretty damn good shit. So it's kind of like it comes down to the Oregon Ducks, man. What do you like better? And maybe if you know in the building that you like Samac enough, if it's true, what I keep hearing, maybe the mock we just did is a better setup because yeah, you maybe it is, man. Maybe this one's better because then you're basically yeah. I mean, you could argue Thieneman's going to be a more impactful player than like Sam Heck at center that we took here in the third. You got the same D tackle, let's say same guys here, all here, and it comes down to what do you like more, Thieneman and Claire or Sadiq and Heck? You could probably argue this. Yeah, so far I think I'm liking this one more now. As much as I like Sadiq, but maybe Sadiq doesn't have that size. And what if someone like Claire is the next, big goofy looking guy that you don't think is going to be, um, what's his name? There we go. Like he's that more prototypical guy that's well rounded and can turn into one of the premier tight ends in the league, more so than a Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know, man. I think but it has to it has to be said. If Sadiq's athleticism translates to production, yeah. But this looks like a better setup, a potentially safer setup, because someone like Max could just be like another Mitch Evans, which is not bad per se. But I like this one too. That actually fits really well with what we do. All right, so last mock. We're gonna see what it looks like when we go D tackle first, which is what I thought they would be doing. I think sneakily they're looking at D tackles in the first. I don't care what people say. Like I've even heard people say that some people don't even think there's going to be D tackle picked in the first round. They're I want to say they're stupid. I do. I really do. But what do I know? I guess there's always a chance that that happens. I just can't fathom being paid to say what I think because what I think is worthy of being paid and to actually utter the words a defensive tackle will not be picked in the first round. I don't know, man. I think it's I'm confused by it. I'm not saying they're top 15 picks slam dunk, but I am saying that when you look at the people we're about to look at here, I am saying they're top 32 picks for sure. All right, I think I got it all set up right. Yeah. All right, let's enter the draft room. This one is D tackle first. See how it looks, how it shapes up. All right, so you don't have Thieneman. You do have Sadiq, but we want to look at defensive line. Nobody's been picked. So we have our pick of what we want. Here I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction right now. I'm going to say Woods, McDonald, and Christian Miller get picked in the first round. Or if I wanted to be safe to not look foolish later, I'm going to say two guys get two guys. So you have experts saying none or leaning none. I'm going to say there's two guys picked, and I'm going to say in this mock for the Panthers, we break the tradition, and we lean Woods over McDonald because in our front three, we're looking for more of a Woods. Oh, here's another one though. Where did Keldrick Falk is another one. Where's their where's their size? Like what's their why don't they have like what? We I need to pay $5-6 just to get their fucking measurables, bro? Damn it. Alright, here's the thing with him, man. He's fucking young. And he's 6'6", 284. If his athleticism was off the charts, which I don't think it was, so he came in at 276. I think that's an option. I truly do. I think if he could play at 284, 290 even possibly, I think he could be looked at as a 3-4 defensive end, man. And I think he's an option. I think Woods is an option. But for this, just for this purpose alone, let's go Peter Woods, who, yeah, you could argue maybe he's not worth it, but just to show that like, hey, this is something. What would it look like with a defensive tackle? And who knows? What if he lives up to what he was perceived to have been before this previous year? What if he ends up challenging like potential defensive rookie of the year because he starts showing the flashes that he showed previously? So let's draft him and see how the rest of the board shapes up. All right, we're probably looking again at linebacker. Ooh, Rodriguez isn't there anymore. Where did he go? Okay, he went to Tennessee. All right, let's take C.J. Allen. Now this is gonna fall in line with what I would previously thought. Like I said, we're not doing surprises. Um, let's see how this looks. All right, in previous ones we did center, tight end. We already got our D tackle. So would we be looking at safety, tight end, center? Safety, tight end, center, corner, offensive tackle. I think we could wait on offensive tackle. Hmm. Oh man, this is not shaping up good. Not shaping up good. All right, so we went all defense. Third round. This is where I think, what if you did? Oh, he just got picked. Yeah, so for some reason in this one, all of a sudden those guys did not fall to our third round. Huh. Well, you could do tight end. You could say wide receiver. Yeah, this one's tough, man. Oh, I thought I was gonna like this setup, but not really liking it. Hmm. Hmm. Just the way this is shaped up, I'm not. We got our D tackle, we got a fucking linebacker, but it's not. And the best value right here, I'm thinking is, you're fucking even missing out on like centers in the third round. I don't think you should focus on receiver, tight ends. You kind of like, so basically anything on offense that I think I would prioritize over an offensive tackle right now. So yeah, I mean, I'd be wanting to lean. You don't even really have good safeties in my opinion. I mean, not that they're not good. It's just nobody that really stands out that would be worth a damn in my opinion. With based on what we currently have on the roster to stand out. So you'd kind of almost you'd have to be hoping that someone falls at tight end to do that. So yeah, I think at this point you take that, you take a tight end, you bypass the center, and you kind of see who falls to the fourth. Who could fall to the fourth? Or that's going to be pick what 119. Yeah, 119. Probably looking at who do you want? I don't know. Like maybe you take a Jalen Kilgore here. Yeah, that's more defense. You could, yeah, you could go Justin Jolie here. Yeah, I say you go Justin Jolie here or Roush. Um, you'd have to basically, yeah, I think you're gonna have to bypass the center. Go with what you got. Huh? Yeah, I'm not liking this way. The way this is getting set up. Maybe it's just the way this one fell, just by chance. Maybe compared to the other ones and how they fell. So I don't know, man. Let's just go tight end. Let's just keep it going. Justin Jolie, you're a Panther. Let's see how it looks. Maybe there's guys here that people know that I don't really know. Huh. Okay. So in the fourth round, where we would normally taken a defensive tackle, but we in this mock we took him in the first round. We kind of want to see what's available in the fourth round, and this is where we just took a receiver in the sense that a pass catcher because he's a tight end. But maybe we're looking at a receiver now, like a Deion Burks, which I don't think is that important when you compare to. Well, maybe we can look at center. Trezun, Crown over. Um, yeah, man. I don't really like the setup. This isn't nearly as pretty as the Thieneman draft. So why even continue? All right, so I mean, just based on a simulator, I think these are the two best setups on paper right now. You wait to take the linebacker, whether you end up with someone like Rodriguez, C.J. Allen, Anthony Hill, Jake. Um, who's that kid out of Cincinnati? Trotter is another one. The only thing wrong with this one is you're not really getting a potential starting center, which is okay because you have a premier safety, a good linebacker. The tight end was Claire. He could be good. Then you have defensive tackle help, a cornerback, offensive tackle, and then you have two more picks. Or no, wait, one more pick after that. So, yeah, man, I like that. I like that. So, and that's totally a possibility. I mean, it could be smokescreen, but I've heard, like what Joe Person was saying that if Thieneman's there, they're taking him. What if it's Emmanuel McNeil Warren? This could be a very good looking draft because this was Thieneman, Rodriguez, Claire, McClellan, uh, your corner offensive tackle. This one was Trey Zune. I like it. I think that that's better. So do is it enough to where I think that's what they're gonna do now? Are they doing similar exercises to see what's a better draft and what they can project? Not just off of one mock draft simulator and one run on a Monday night. And for me, it's Monday night. I'll probably post this tomorrow. But I like them both. But I have to say, I do like the Thieneman. I'd like the Thieneman better. I think that has more potential to be an awesome draft. Because these three guys are the same, right? So anything after round three is the same. Um, Thieneman, Rodriguez, Claire versus Sadiq, Rodriguez, Heck. Yep. All right. What do I think they're gonna do? Fuck if I know, man. Do I want to change it? I think the value at linebacker in round two is just too much to overlook. And even though I like how that looks, like look at this, you like really the only offensive help you're getting is Claire in the third round. So yeah, it's tough. But that brings more bang for the buck than the defensive tackle, linebacker, and then what did we end up with here? Tight end, barely. And then we kind of gave up on the rest. Like we could keep going because then you could basically say, although it's that fourth round and we weren't sure, or at least in this mock draft, you have some value at D tackle in the fourth round. Well, oh man, I don't even. I think it's just so much up in the air that is it really worth like giving out like a what your tops are? I don't know, man. If they're looking at how I see it, yeah, I definitely think. So here's my predictions. This was my prediction. I'll label it so I don't prediction what they will do, which is kind of basically just this column. Yeah, let's make this one the prediction. So I'm gonna take. I think we've seen enough I think enough has transpired. I don't think offensive tackle is on the. I think between Sadiq, Thieneman, maybe even McNeil Warren, and all the defense, and at least one defensive tackle is going to be there. And I think the second round. You know what? Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't erase something. D tackle, offensive tackle. Yeah, I think you're kind of. I'm shooting it. I'm going to go ahead and predict linebacker in the second round. I don't think the talk of receiver is real, man. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do, man. I don't know. What? Let me think here. I talked about Keldrick Falk being a possibility. I said my piece on how I think yeah defensive tackle could be a possibility. I'm not liking how it looks on the draft boards that I'm seeing here, which is going to be way different if you do take a defensive tackle, like how everything else falls. So I think it's a safe bet that like linebacker's a pretty good bet to go second round. Um, that fifth round, I kind of like cornerback, offensive tackle. So you could be looking at defensive tackle. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say D tackle slash center and D tackle slash center. I think you can get that, and you could be doing that there. So this is my predictions of how we could be looking at it. Which one helps the team more? Yeah, I don't know, man. Whew, it's gonna be nerve wracking. Now, what would I do? So last little bit. What would I do? Maybe I'll put that here. Me personally, although I really like how this safety looks, I think I have to lean fucking tight end, bro. If he's there, I think I have to, and that's assuming, you know, he's gonna. This is gonna be like what I would do. I think you have to basically take a premier tight end, assuming you believe in him. And yeah, sure, I would focus on linebacker in a second. Now, this is what I would do, and I am not joking. I think here I go quarterback, and I'm hoping Drew Allar's there if he's there. If not, then I wait. I yeah, I'll probably fucking wait for whatever. I'm not even gonna bother explaining it, man. It just fucking makes sense to me. But and then I would do D tackle here, and right in the fifth round, this is where I would focus on offensive tackle slash cornerback. Yeah. What would I do? Knowing that the team, I would get the premier tight end, get a linebacker. Oh, you know what? Center is another one. That's what I would do for these. And if he only was there, it would look like. Hold on, where do I put this? Let's put it here. Linebacker, and then what? Maybe it's fucking tight end. Then T tackle, CV, offensive tackle. I mean, how does that look? That could be exciting too. So what if the team was literally looking at just like this right here? Like, hey guys, here's our plan. If both Sadiq and Thieneman are there, we'll go Thieneman. If Thieneman's not there and Sadiq is, let's go Thieneman. Or sorry, Sadiq, linebacker, center, or defensive tackle, either one, and take the other one in the fourth round. And then we focus on depth for cornerback, offensive tackle, who knows what else. All right, I'm going to keep this stuff up. But yeah, I'm going to say, dude, I just don't see wide receiver as like a big thing. I think they're looking at a lot of them. If I had to guess, I think they're looking at wide receiver as more of a who could do we have a second round grade on that may be there for us in the third or fourth as an option in case like we can't get a tight end that we like in the third should we get a safety in the first, like one of those scenarios. I would not be shocked in the least if we do not take a receiver in this draft. Wide receiver. I'll say that again. I would not be shocked if they completely don't take a wide receiver at all in this draft. And I would not be shocked either if they take defensive tackle sooner than people think. Because what if you have a scenario where Sadiq and Thieneman are both gone? What do you do then? Assuming they don't take a receiver. I think that's where you could be looking at defensive tackle. So you could be looking at defensive tackle, linebacker, tight end, then maybe like, I don't know, center, wide receiver, or fuck wide receiver. Center, D tackle, cornerback, offensive tackle even. So I like it. All right. I think that's going to cover it. Shit, that's like an hour and 30 minutes. Keep pounding. We'll see. I don't know if I'll do another one, but it should be fun. Happy drafting, y'all.